Hello and welcome to this special National Career Development Association press briefing. I am Seth Hayden, the President of the National Career Development Association. We are honored to have this opportunity to share with you public policy efforts to highlight career development as a central feature of the human experience, as well as recognize advocates for career and technical education within our legislative branch of government. We are fortunate to have them in attendance today, as well as others who possess expertise on career services across settings. There are more than 9 million people in the United States looking for work, many who have stopped looking, and many others who have been severely impacted in career and education related to our current context. Societal consideration of career and education in relation to economic recovery, infrastructure, and social justice and equity presents a unique moment in which to support those in need with effective career services. NCDA is focused on ensuring that students and workers receive competent support and are well equipped to effectively navigate career and work challenges. The realization of the NCDA mission that points to advocating for career practitioners and educators who inspire and empower individuals to achieve their career and life goals requires attention and collaboration within the public sphere. We at NCDA fully support public policy that aims to create a culture of access and opportunity related to career development and work. We also believe the importance of informing these discussions with real-time data evidenced by our current administration of the Harris Poll on career services, with results being provided to NCDA members and to the broader public in the near future. We are here today to recognize Representatives Langevin of Rhode Island and Thompson of Pennsylvania, who have exhibited their commitment to enacting legislation to achieve these aims. We will also use this opportunity to learn from a panel of experts in the field who will speak to the importance of career support across educational and work settings. We look forward to the opportunity to engage on these issues. I would like to now introduce Dr. Sharon Givens, NCDA President-elect, who will recognize the recipients of our NCDA Legislative Award. Dr. Givens?
NCDA is pleased to present Congressman James Langevin from Rhode Island and Congressman Glenn Thompson from Pennsylvania with the NCDA Legislative Awards. This award was established to recognize national, state, and local legislators or practicing career counselors, consultants, or career educators for outstanding performance in career development and advocacy. As authors of many bills advocating for the importance of career development, we are so pleased to support your work and become a strong ally and resource whenever information is needed. Your commitment to this process will certainly impact generations of the future. Thank you so much for your hard work on behalf of the career development community.
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the kind words, Dr. Givens, and just thank you all for having us here today. It's really is an honor, and thank you for having me. And as Dr. Givens mentioned, I'm one of the co-chairs of the Career and Technical Education Caucus in the Congress. My partner GT and I are a bipartisan pair that work hard every day to try to find common sense solutions to our career and technical education challenges. And I'm really excited to speak with you this morning, along with GT. And I just want to begin by thanking the NCDA for inviting me today and for presenting me with this with their award. It really is a tremendous honor, and I'm very grateful. And even better that I'm receiving it with my partner GT. So I'd also like to thank, of course, the NCDA members, career counselors, and administrators who are in the audience viewing this morning's program as well. It really is very humbling to accept an award from a group of people who work for students full-time and help them find their way to promising careers. And I really do commend all of you for your hard work day in and day out. You're making a difference, and it really is. It's the work you're doing is so important. Career counseling is really one of the important things that we can do to recover from the pandemic and really narrow the income equality gap in our country, and also to address our diversity challenges as well. While in office, I spent a great deal of time focusing on career and workforce development, particularly career and technical education. So my work on CTE grew out of basically meetings from constituents and Rhode Island business leaders during the Great Recession back in 2007 and 2009. At that time, despite Rhode Island's high unemployment rate, businesses actually had job openings that were going unfilled. This was an eye opener for me. I found it, I was dumbfounded in many ways. That, here I'm thinking business is not going to be hiring for a while, and it really was just the contrary. They were hiring, they just couldn't find the workers to fill the jobs. And really a light bulb went off and said, this is an area where I want to do a deeper dive and work on this challenge to address this issue for our businesses, for our young people, for our workforce writ large. Again, unfortunately, it was because of that many workers lack the skills necessary to succeed in these careers, and the skills gap has become a perpetual challenge that does continue to need to be addressed. So since that time, I've worked with GT to increase CTE funding and promote quality CTE and other programs to enhance workforce development pipelines. So basically, career development programs, can also help fill workforce needs and direct students to all options that lie ahead. These days, students, whether they students have many career paths and opportunities to consider, whether they want to be a shipbuilder, cybersecurity specialist, economist, therapist, doctor, or graphic designer, whatever they choose. Students can pursue their goals through CTE programs, apprenticeships, 2 or 4 year degree programs, and advanced degrees. And they can also take breaks between degree programs to work for a few years, or they can have internships or engage in work-based learning while they're in school. And in fact, I'm a big fan of the program, for example, at a college like Northeastern University, who relies on things like externship programs in between class, in between semesters, to get that hands-on experience. Just by way of example, that's a 4-year college doing that, but there's certainly community colleges and other programs can do the same thing. Basically, students can even take online courses and receive a certificate many years after finishing high school or college. With all of these choices, of course, comes the pressure to make a good choice, one that is fulfilling, one that will lead to financial security. And that's where your career counselors provide students and their families the information and the guidance that they really do need to make informed choices. So technology, of course, is also playing an ever-increasing role in all of our lives and work environments. I see that every time I think about my time as a student. Thankfully, young people today are digital natives who have been working with software and computers for most of their lives. They're growing up with this stuff, not having to learn it after the fact. Yet technology and automation are profoundly changing the working environment, career pathways, and even the tasks required to perform a job. As the workplace of the future becomes closer to today's reality, we must make sure that counselors receive current information and have the proper resources to give the guidance that the students that they're working with really do need. So it also goes without saying that the pandemic's disruption to the economy has uprooted many students' plans, whether they fell behind in school or wanted to defer college for 1 to 2 years. No amount of guidance or tutoring could prepare high school or college students for the decisions that they must make now. So before the pandemic, career counselors, of course, were navigators to guide students down well-trodden paths. Now, of course, counselors have become compasses to guide our young people through the wilderness. So these wildernesses. So that's why GT and I work together on the career for Counseling through Career Choice Act, which will expand career development programs across the country. States can use federal funds to identify local workforce trends and modify career counseling frameworks accordingly. They can implement new career counseling programs, as well as personalized learning plans, apprenticeships, and dual enrollment programs. They can train counselors and provide updated information about new CTE programs and work-based learning opportunities. And they can train counselors and provide updated information about new CTE programs and work-based learning opportunities. And they can also strengthen existing programs by integrating technology and setting up statewide career counseling frameworks. In all, this bill helps level the playing field in so many ways. So I'm pleased to introduce this bill today, and I urge all of you to meet with your representatives and their staff to support and co-sponsor the bill. It's common sense legislation that I believe will help young adults navigate the post-pandemic economy, whether they are setting career goals for the first time or having to reset their goals after a break. So let me just in closing say that I also should underscore that this legislation is not only common sense, it's bipartisan. Yes, bipartisanship does still exist in Congress. Unfortunately, it doesn't get the media attention that it should, but it does exist. However, at the end of the day, many people enter public service because they want to make a difference. And I really do hope that you remember that the surest way to solve our biggest challenges, of course, is by transcending our political ideologies and political divides and working together for the common good. So with that, let me just say thank you for inviting me to speak today. It's an honor to be here with everyone. And thank you so much for honoring me and GT with the NCDA Legislative Award. It really is a tremendous privilege to get an award like this from such a distinguished group and people that I truly admire for the work that you're doing. So thank you all for the work that you continue to do. Stay safe out there, and I look forward to hopefully being together again at some point in the near future, hopefully in person too. Thank you again.
Thank you, Representative Langevin. I really appreciate your thoughts. Congratulations on the award, and thank you very much for your efforts. So now I'd like to offer the opportunity for Representative Thompson to share thoughts, please.
Good morning, everyone, and just thank you so much. Let me just start out by congratulating someone who really is a good friend, a colleague, but more than that, just a good friend, great partner to work with, and that's Congressman Jim Langevin. If you watch the House floor, I won't ask how many people spend time watching C-SPAN. But if you do, you frequently see terms thrown around like my good friend, my esteemed colleague, and I think most cases, in my opinion, the members are saying that are standing there, they have their fingers crossed behind their back. But when it comes to Jim and I, we are good friends, and I'd like to think, Jim, that we're maybe one of the best examples of sustained bipartisan friendships and collaboration and work that is effective. One of the most effective evidence of bipartisanship because of our commitment, and it's not hard to build that when you build it for a passion for career and technical education. When you're building that for around creating and restoring rungs on the ladder of opportunity. So congratulations, Jim. I also want to say thank you to Dr. Givens for your leadership of this great organization, and for all those with the National Career Development Association for organizing this great event. It really is a pleasure to be here with so many advocates who understand the value of quality education, professional development, and the importance of career readiness. What you do is you open the gateway and you open and maintain the gateway to opportunity. And so thank you to you and your peers, your colleagues, for what occurs all over this country and the incredibly important role that you play and that you serve. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm GT Thompson. I represent Pennsylvania's 15th Congressional District, and I've been serving on the House Education Labor Committee since I was first elected in 2008. Just for the record, full transparency, I'm a recovering school board member. I actually went on the school board. I had a full head of hair when I went on the school board. I don't know if it was that experience or the three sons my wife and I raised that resulted in this wonderful hairline that I have today. But because of those experiences, I've had the privilege of working with many students and teachers and mentors, counselors, administrators, and everyone else that makes up our thriving education system. Over the years, I've realized that a one-size-fits-all education plan is a losing strategy when it comes to preparing students for the workforce. All too often, students are pigeonholed into a traditional 4-year plus college degree program because that's what they've been told to aspire for too long. Obviously, there are many different pathways to success in life, and our goal should be to facilitate the best possible decision-making by each and every young person as they prepare to launch into the workplace and choose the path by which they will accomplish that. The reality is that there's an apparent skills gap in this country. With millions of jobs open and available in America today, employers are having a hard time finding the skilled workers needed to fill these positions. Prior to COVID, we saw this where we had record unemployment, millions of jobs that were sitting open and available, just employers desperate to find qualified and trained workers. And even during this time of COVID, most manufacturers and many service industry business owners are just absolutely struggling to find that most important asset that they can have in their business operation, and that's a qualified and trained worker. Now we need to defy the misconception that a traditional college experience is the only way to have a successful and a rewarding career. Now this is something I'm very passionate about, as is my colleague and friend, Congressman Jim Langevin. Together, as Jim noted, we serve as the co-chairs of the Bipartisan House Career and Technical Education Caucus. We've done that for a number of years now. And I'm proud of the work that we've done, and not just the legislation that we've put forward over the years, but the successful enactment of that legislation into law that we've been able to accomplish. Truly effectiveness in terms of getting the job done and getting it out into the communities, the fruits of that labor, so that we can see, again, more rungs on a ladder of opportunity and impacting lives. And quite frankly, one of the number one assets that not just businesses, but our nation has, and that's our robust workforce. Now, this work culminated in President Trump signing the Strengthening Career and Technical Education for the 21st Century Act into law in 2018. I think culmination is really, that was a big deal, but I don't want to use that word culmination because we're not stopping. We're always want to be forward thinking, leaning into this to see how we continue to make refinements, improvements. This legislation was the first major overhaul to the Carl D. Perkins Career and Technical Education Act since 2006, long overdue. Now, this bill works to close the skills gap by modernizing the federal investment in CTE programs. It is a great investment financially because it has a tremendous return on investment in terms of personal economics, quality of life, and quite frankly, the economy. And it connects educators with industry stakeholders so that we bring to the table the people that sign the front of a paycheck, not the back, so that we know what the in-demand positions are for today in 2021. But we work with them to see what's in the development stage. What can we, with some reasonable degree of confidence, anticipate what's the next skill set that we need to be preparing students for. So it really keeps the quality of our programs attuned to the needs of the economy. The National Center for Education Statistics 2018 report found that only 60% of first-time undergraduates finish a 4-year degree within 6 years, and only 30% of students at community colleges earn an associate degree within 3 years. As a result, the United States has the highest college dropout rate in the industrialized world. Unacceptable. That's why Congressman Langevin and I plan to reintroduce the Counseling for Career Choice Act. This bill, as you know, seeks to ensure high school students are made aware of their educational options and career prospects prior to graduation. It also invests in professional development opportunities for counselors working with these students so that they can do their jobs to the best of their ability, and can stay up to date on the workforce trends and post-secondary opportunities. Investing in our career development professionals also has a tremendous return on investment. Now, the common theme here is that no matter who we're talking about, with high school students, college students, quite frankly, new retirees who perhaps worked a job for 30, 35, 40 years, always had a passion to try something different. The economics of changing jobs at that point in life didn't work out. But most retirees today aren't sitting at home or spending a lot of time, as much time perhaps on the lake or on the golf course. You know, they want to be productive. They still have wisdom to be able to impart and to provide. And so I think we're probably going to see, or have been seeing, a number of the baby boomer generation at this point seeking maybe just a little bit of training, a little bit of education, certification, to be able to pursue something that they became exposed to during their work life that they would like to do, at least on a part-time basis, if not a full-time basis, which is great because we need those individuals in the workforce, and we need to help encourage that. You know, perhaps those re-entering the workforce after quite some time, the pathway to success looks different for everyone. And quite frankly, that's okay. It's crucial that we provide quality resources, information, education to restore the rungs on that ladder of opportunity for all individuals. With effective career development and skills-based education, we can put learners of all ages in the driver's seat of their own futures. Again, thank you for the opportunity today. Thank you for the honor and the recognition. It is truly humbling, and I can't think of a better person to be recognized at the same time with than Congressman Jim Langevin, who obviously has been a true champion for opportunity. And most importantly, thank you for all that you do for education and career development. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Thompson. I appreciate your thoughts, and also congratulations on receiving the award. So I'd like to express appreciation to Representative Langevin and Thompson for your time. We greatly appreciate your efforts and for sharing your thoughts. We also recognize the importance of your time. While you're of course welcome to continue joining us, we will now move on to the panel discussion on the importance of career services across settings. Each panelist will share brief remarks on their area of expertise. Our first panelist is Diana Bailey, Chair of the National Career Development Association Government Relations Committee, who will offer her remarks on career services within the workforce.
Good morning, everyone. I'm a longtime educator, and in fact, I worked under Career and Tech Ed. So what I was hearing from the representatives was music to my ears. And this is my retirement gig, working with NCDA and also working under the U.S. Department of Labor as a consultant. But I wanted to share a lot of some of the practical aspects of where I see the workforce development and the career development services going in some of the clients that I see and some of the clients that my colleagues see. As some of the comments that we already heard this morning, some of the new federal legislation, in addition to the Career and Tech Ed Act, have very much focused on the workforce development of a lot of population groups. Some of those are highly skilled, but many of them are underemployed or unemployed. We also have many special populations that are in those groups that really need career services every day. In many cases, they may or may not have had those services when they were in an educational situation or in a special program. When we look at some of those areas of career services that professionals need to share with their participants or clients, it is looking very much at workforce development trends, where those career pathways might be in their community, and where some of those other areas of new careers, either by COVID relationships or other issues that may have happened. How do you pivot and retool in an area that you may have had a lot of skills before, but the workforce doesn't have a place for you in many cases anymore. We're also looking at some of the economic self-sufficiency of many of our participants and clients. We know that they can't live on $8 an hour. So where do we find those career pathways for those young adults and moving into adults where they can have a sustainable career pathway? I think some of the other things that are important to us, some of the priorities are some of that credential advising that's so critical to each participant or student, but in many cases, they're kind of just going to wherever the job is today. And although being a delivery truck driver was a viable option last March, it's not where I hope those people will still be this March or April. So how do we do that career advising? And it takes trained professionals that have the appropriate credentials or certifications so that we really are ahead of our clients to know what the labor market is, where the training options are, and how to meet the needs of employers as well. We've seen a lot of collaborations over the year with both our education partners, community college partners, as well as a lot of professional partners related to government relations and those professional associations supporting career development, such as American Counseling Association, the Association of Career and Tech Ed Professionals, and many others. So what does our future hold for career and workforce development specialists? It's looking not only at the federal training dollars that will make a big difference to us and to employers, but it's also working with our state and local agencies and education partners so that we are fulfilling the needs of the employers, but also the needs of our students and participants. And how do we do that? It's something that career professionals that are trained and have the right professional outcomes that can provide those. So we're looking at a match of employer to participant that matches their skills and abilities. And in order to do that, we're also lucky to have some workforce development resources funded by the U.S. Department of Labor under Career One Stop. So as a longtime educational career professional, we did a lot of career assessments, but now that I'm working with the workforce community primarily, we can find that a lot of those assessment resources are online. They're free and available to people so they can be in the career development specialist bag of tricks to work with any professional. They're also very diverse and their emphasis is on equity as well, both for language learners, different language learners, or people with special needs of any kind. So we're really looking at career exploration options, and that provides career videos for some of those new job titles that you or I may have not known what they are because as things change so rapidly. So those are some of the highlights, I think, of the workforce development system, working with young adults into and until any age in the workplace. But again, it takes the cost benefit comes when we have career trained and professionally skilled workforce development, career development specialists that can provide those support services and career services to our clients and students. Thank you.
I appreciate your thoughts, Diana. Thank you very much. Our second panelist is Dr. Sharon Gibbons, who I indicated as the president-elect of NCDA, who will speak to career services within private practice.
Good afternoon, everyone. Private practice certainly plays a major role in seeing clients, advocating for career development services. It is with great pleasure that I have this opportunity to speak about the work that happens in private practice. It's an immense commitment, of course, to serve clients of diverse backgrounds that have various needs who are seeking employment. But one of the unique situations about being in private practice that I'm most proud of is the opportunity to not only meet career development needs, but to provide holistic services, which is very much a part of career development, treatment, practices, and strategies. So today, just among a few things that happen in private practice is looking at the goals, setting action plans for particular clients, and helping them to reach ultimately their potential to contribute actually in the workforce on a day-to-day basis. What I think is most notable in private practice is helping people discover their passion in terms of what they actually ultimately would like to do, how they would like to serve, the jobs that are most interesting to them, and how do they maximize their skills, not only just to make a living, but to actually have a notable life.
Thank you, Dr. Givens. I appreciate you sharing your thoughts. Our third panelist is Celeste Hall, the NCDA trustee for school career counselors and specialists, who will share thoughts on career support within K through 12 settings.
Good morning. I appreciate being able to share some thoughts with you today about opportunity, collaboration, and accountability in relation to career development in K-12 schools. I was happy to hear the representatives who are honored today share some of the same thoughts that I'm going to share, so I'll try not to duplicate too much. In periods of crisis and disruption, as we've experienced in the past year, we can find opportunity for positive change. We've seen this in the past in education. For example, World War II brought the GI Bill, which allowed many of our parents and grandparents to access college education. The Cold War led to the space race and an emphasis on math and science in schools. The civil rights and women's movements led to more opportunity for many people. During this year, schools have found ways to leverage technology in new ways, and parents have become more involved in their students' education than they perhaps ever wanted to be. All of this points to an opportunity to rethink the ways that we deliver instruction and to find new ways to infuse career development interventions into the school curriculum and culture. Now, there are already many ways that collaboration takes place within schools and communities to support career development. There are many best practices that we can identify and highlight in order to encourage more of this good work. Yesterday, NCDA sponsored a webinar with a panel of leaders from the San Diego area who collaborate to support student career development. These leaders in the Cajon Valley schools, beginning in kindergarten, they support career development through middle schools in a program called the World of Work Initiative. And I want to point out Dr. David Mirashiro, who is their superintendent, who supports this initiative, led by Ed Hidalgo, who's the Chief Innovation and Engagement Officer for the San Diego Cajon Valley schools. So I encourage all of you to view this webinar. It should be posted next week at some point, and to learn more about the work that they do to engage children in early self-awareness and career awareness. So schools are already doing a lot of great work through career and technical education programs and many other ways to infuse career development. For example, when an elementary teacher reads books about different careers, a school counselor sponsors a career day, an art teacher collaborates with a career advisor on career posters for NCDA's poetry and art contest, a robotics team engineers basketball playing robots, a horticulture class grows and sells plants, a culinary class caters a retiree luncheon. And I could go on and on about these things that are already being done. All of these activities could be called early workforce development. That's happening in schools. We need our community leaders, our businesses, and parents to continue to collaborate with schools to provide this work-based learning opportunities like job shadows, mentoring, part-time work, apprenticeships, and on-the-job training. All of these items that are supported in this bill. And as spoken by our representatives, we need our parents and students to know that there are many educational pathways that they can take to learn and build skills for careers. So exploration and experiences are key. Now, the final word that I want to highlight is accountability. I've observed during my many years in schools that school systems do indeed respond to and achieve the outcomes that are funded and on which they are measured. So if a school system must reach a benchmark for four-year college attendance to be accredited, they will meet that benchmark. If test scores must be at a certain level, resources will be allocated to reach that goal. So when our government leaders and policymakers write career development targets into the standards of quality for accreditation of schools, resources will be allocated towards reaching those targets. Programs that are funded will be carried out. So I'm grateful for the work of Representatives Langevin and Thompson to lead in this direction. And I hope that states and localities will follow the example of focusing on career development competencies that will allow our students to explore and access opportunities to achieve their goals in life. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Celeste, and thank you for also pointing out various other resources that NCDA has for those who are interested. And so thank you for that. Okay, so our final panelist is Dr. Diandra Prescod, NCDA trustee for higher education, career counselors, and specialists, who will share thoughts on career services within higher education.
Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you all today about career services in higher education. So, the first thing I'll talk about is just the space that young adults and emerging adults are in during this time. They're in a space of confusion, uncertainty, being at a stage where you're making or need to be faced with making decisions about post-secondary education, asking yourself questions like, what will I major in? Will I be able to finish school? Will I be able to afford school? Is career and technical education a route for me? What will be my best option? So it can be a time of high stress for students during this time. We also know that millions of dollars are lost every single year due to career uncertainty. Students taking extra courses, changing their major, changing their minds about what they'll study. And it's also a time of comparison. Sometimes we naturally compare ourselves to other people, and students and young people are doing the same thing. When it comes to grades, accomplishments, number of acceptance letters, ability to afford higher education, getting into an internship. And all of these things can lead to depression and anxiety for young and emerging adults, as well as non-traditional students in higher education as well. Over the past year, COVID has taught us so much about how certain groups have been impacted by everything and efforts that we need to really highlight moving forward. Whether it was teens and young adults, women, immigrants, people of color, those 55 and older, differently abled individuals have all been disproportionately affected by the COVID pandemic. And specifically, when we look at young adult workers from age 16 to 24, a quarter of that group lost their jobs from February to May of 2020. Many of the students or many of the young adult workers in that group were also students, which meant that at that time, they were dealing with lots of anxiety and lots of uncertainty around what the future would look like for them. I was able to counsel young adults during COVID, see my students counsel students during COVID, and hearing the stories about the anxiety they felt when it came to paying for school, when it came to being able to continue with their internship, thinking about dropping out of school, thinking about what it would be like just to balance everything they had going on. And many were scared for their health, safety, and well-being. So the trauma of COVID significantly impacted students. And we're seeing with research now that trauma significantly influences vocational identity and career adaptability, which is also why it's so important to support those in higher education. Career advisors, coaches, counselors were all crucial during that time, and they still are. I also wanted to point out the fact that we know that career development interventions work. We've seen the research there, we've seen the work going on, whether it's career planning courses or career counseling or advising for students in higher education. We know that undergraduate career planning courses and career counselors and advisors help students learn more about themselves, their abilities, their interests, and help them create a career path for themselves that makes sense, and recognizing that everyone has a different path. Undergraduate career planning courses, both discipline-specific or general, succeed in aiding students feel more confident about their abilities to make career decisions. We also know that these efforts help individuals visualize themselves in a career. Career planning courses can also positively influence negative career thoughts and retention for undergraduate students as well. Career counseling interventions help post-secondary students decide on a career path, provide long-term benefits, including increased retention, inflated confidence in career decision-making, and greater persistence in one's selected occupation. So again, efforts supporting our career counselors, advisors, and coaches in higher education is very important. This group is now at the table when higher education administrators are making decisions for students, speaking to department chairs, deans, provosts about including career development services in their budgets and supporting career services on campuses. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Prescod. You spoke about a lot of the interconnected aspects of career development with other domains of well-being. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Okay, so we have some time here for questions. First question I have is, I find that the people that need us the most have no access to us. Is there a way that government can bridge that gap? Okay, couple of thoughts I have in relation to that is certainly what we've been talking about today in terms of increasing legislative efforts and increasing support for career services across domains so that people have access. Access, I think, is critically important in relation to career services, and also to ensure that we're creative in providing equity and access, I think is really important. I know for me, as well as others I've interacted with who are colleagues, at times we kind of get into a groove of how we do things, and we don't always think about ways in which we can diversify the way in which we deliver services. And certainly governmental efforts in that regard, in terms of providing financial support for that, I think can be really impactful. And just to continue to talk about these things, to bring them forward, to have forums such as this, as well as these collaborations with those within our legislative branch of government, I think are ways in which we can hopefully bridge that gap, which I think is important. So thank you, Meg, for that question. It's a good one.
Seth, there's another question from Stephen Myers. He says, what can we do to help advocate for our own representatives to co-sign and support the Counseling for Career Choice Act? Anything else we can do to support this bill moving forward?
Thank you, Stephen, for that question. And again, I invite others who would like to respond. I think the representatives indicated themselves about things that we could do, and that we can be in touch with our representatives, be active in that discussion, bring people together to be able to advocate for these things, such as people within your area or professional associations such as NCDA that can leverage the membership in terms of their interest in these kinds of things to try to advocate for these. And so I think being engaged making sure that you reach out to your individual representatives, but then also to be a part of the conversation from a broader professional standpoint, to ensure that we're able to try and move these things forward and draw their continual attention to this.
Seth, if I could also add,
Please.
as you know, I also serve as the Government Relations NCDA chair, and the Government Relations Committee, also with Charles Lehman as our board representative, board liaison. We regularly, like Jason Ortega, who is our lobbyist, he provides a weekly update of what's happening in Washington. So we're trying to get those out to those of you that are on our contact list. If you are not already and would like to be, you can either go on the NCDA website or you can email me directly at dibailey@comcast.net, and we'll get you on that resource list. We often periodically also partner with ACA or other organizations, as in workforce development. There was one that we did not too long ago where NCDA provided a sign-on letter. So that's at the national level, but we're also encouraging you, as the representatives did this morning, to be in contact with your local state representatives and probably also your local boards of ed, as Sarah mentioned. So there's a lot of ways to start at the community level, in your neighborhood level, at your PTA level, to make sure that career services are being provided to your students, as well as all the way up through the community college board of trustees or the university. So there's plenty of things to do. And then it's not just at the national level. So please be in contact with us if you have some suggestions or needs, and we'll try to do what we can. Thank you.
Seth, I'm not sure if you saw Amanda Flora. She sent a follow-up to Stephen Meyer's question. She said, can we engage the state divisions in supporting this? Example, signed letters by members. Great idea, Amanda. We will work with our government relations committee to be in touch with state divisions and work on getting them on board as well.
Yeah, and we send a lot of those resource tips to, if the states don't have a GR representative on their own state board, we also send a lot of those to Carolyn Jones, who's the liaison for all the state CDA chapters. So that system is in place. Clearly, there's other things that we can do to tighten it up, but just get yourself involved or get on our mailing list, and you too can get the information.
Okay, so we're coming to the end of our time. I would like to thank you for your involvement. I'd also like to recognize Jason Ortega, who works with us through Lobbyit, who has been instrumental in our efforts in relation to government relations and also the things that we talked about today. And so, Jason, thank you very much for what you do and for your continued support of NCDA. And we look forward to continuing to work with you going forward. Okay, so thank you for attending the special event designed to highlight the efforts of NCDA in the area of public policy. We hope you will stay engaged with NCDA as these efforts are ongoing. We wish you a great day. Thank you very much.